there has been quite a lot of political, social, economic indicators on the African continent that show that Africa has progressed from pre-independence Africa to post-independence Africa.
Ghana, your beloved country, is free forever. From now on, there is a new African in the world. That new African is ready to fight his own battle and show that after all, the black man is capable of managing his own affairs.
66 years down the road, Africa finds itself with the first country, Ghana, having gained independence. We find ourselves still locked up, controlled, manipulated, instructed, logistically supplied, equipped by foreign powers that dictate our agenda. Africa is endowed with plenty of minerals, resources, good weather. The climate is so favorable for the growth of food enough to sustain us. But we find ourselves in countries where hunger is killing people. Hunger is killing people because most of the people have taken to arms to fight wars, conflicts. Starvation has taken the place of development. In most African countries like Sudan, South Sudan, Central African Republic, Cameroon, Nigeria, in Biafra, and north of Nigeria there is Boko Haram, Somalia in the Horn of East Africa. We have taken to conflict instead of development. Development was the key indicator. When Kwame Nkrumah made the first speech that seek ye African political unity, economic development will come automatically, he was right. The events happening in Libya today vindicates Nkrumah, vindicates Nyerere, Sekou Toure, and Nasser, the founding fathers of our Pan-Africanism. The events happening in Central African Republic, in Congo today, as the war of rebels ranges on between the rebel and the rebels and the government and the rebels, vindicates the founding fathers of this revolution. Our independence, therefore, was only on paper. Our independence, therefore, was only in symbols. Our independence also was in signs. Our independence also was in boundaries. That we received our flags, but we never received full independence as by the word independence. Most of the 3/4 of African countries, French-speaking countries, have their budgets being done in Paris. Is that independence? The Paris government or the French government does its budgets based on how much they will get from African countries. Is that independence? Is this the Africa that you want? Is it the Africa that we must look at? Is it the Africa that we shall leave for the future generation? If the answer to you is yes, then so be it. But if the answer is no, you agree with me that this is not the Africa we want to leave for the future generation. Our generations and the future generation need to find a legacy. What is the legacy that Africa and African Union will leave for the future generation? The wars ranging in Libya, in South Sudan, in Khartoum, in Mogadishu, in DRC Congo, in Amazonia, in Cameroon, Boko Haram, Mali, in Mauritania, The uprisings in Algeria all point to one thing, that yes, we are not yet independent. We are still controlled by external forces. Thank you. The creation of African Continental Free Trade Area is a step forward for the African integration, and it is very much welcome both by Africans in Africa and those in diaspora. The creation of such is the only second one since the formation of World Trade Organization in 1994, and is only compared to the size that can compete if it works in Africa. 1.3 billion people will benefit out of this free trade that has been signed and endorsed by 54 heads of state. After several years of up and down in the valleys of Africa and the mountains of Africa, we finally came to a conclusion that this has to happen, which brings us to the dream of Kwame Nkrumah when he said, at least building a block by block, Africa will one day unite to stand as a united continent. But are the members of this African Union committed? Will they implement what they have decided? Today, in several countries, we see signs of xenophobia, the lack of patriotism amongst the younger generation, the lack of employment, the unemployment, the mistreatment of the young, the youth, those who need jobs, the corruption, the amount of corruption that has eaten the entire continent of Africa could hamper the free trade that we are anticipating on the continent. What measures, therefore, have African heads of state put in place to ensure that those who lag behind, those who drop out, must be penalized? We should not sign the document for the sake of documents, but we should sign documents for practical reasons that we shall implement what Africa needs today. Can it happen in our times? Is it going to happen? Is integration a mirage? Is integration worth going to happen? Will it happen? What has happened about the present blocks that have started integration process? What have they done? Is Africa integrating? Thank you. Conflicts in Africa have become the daily occurrence. Daily occurrences in many countries, in the sense that almost every African country, apart from the few, there is tension. One wonders where this tension at times comes from. Some of it comes from elections, a manufactured election, a disputed election results. Some come from territory. Some are terrorist-based, like that of Somalia and Boko Haram. Some are because of regime change, purely sponsored by external forces. But 95 to 96% of conflicts in Africa occur through the sponsorship of external darker forces that would like to benefit out of the spoils of war. George Soros stands as one person who has always been and will always be and shall be until the end a man who sponsors any type of chaos, who does not follow which type of chaos he is sponsoring, as long as it is chaos that can topple a person he hates in Africa. Many African countries are undergoing this pressure, this tension, especially those that are conducting elections and whose timetable for elections seem to be coming in the near future. As a result of that, Africa stands warned, and Africa must stand on alert about the external forces that want to dismember this continent and create heavens of war, create insecurity, create mirage peace that Africans have fought after 66 years of gaining political independence. It is therefore my submission that most African countries, if they don't look at what George Soros is doing, we might have a shocker one morning, one by one African country being pushed out and the leaders being pushed out of power. The events therefore in South Africa, as proved from these detailed undercover operations, they prove that George Soros indeed has a say in South African politics. And therefore, we want to urge Africans and African heads of state and their military and intelligence systems to be careful and watch on the amount of money that is being pumped into their economies, because some of the money could be George Soros money that will end up to bring public disorder in most of the African countries. Thank you very much, viewers. Good afternoon, viewers. Welcome to Punchline Africa Television, broadcasting all the way from the Republic of Kenya in Nairobi. Viewers, this is Diplomatic Leaks, a show that brings us close to Africa, a show that makes Africa, we go behind the enemy lines, we go behind the lines, the hidden lines, the secrets behind diplomats. Diplomatic Leaks is a show that actually brings about Africa. We find out what do they do, what is happening. We talked in the morning and I said there is a deeper state, there is a darker state. There are people in Kenya who don't know that beyond the deeper state, there is a darker state, invisible, a mirage that you don't see them. And those are the forces that make things work against Africa. We have several states, 4 of them, and I named them this morning. With me in the studio today to combat this corruption. Combating corruption in African Union is none other than Miriam Ogutu. How are you? We can now shake hands.
Yes, we
because
can.
we have got our
We have sanitized.
sanitized.
All right,
Yes.
okay.
Thank you very much, viewers. Let's come, let's talk, let's discuss, let's enjoy, let's find out. Is Africa Union captured? Is Africa Union, has it collapsed? Many of you Africans watching me might think I am a joker. I am not. I wrote 4 intelligence reports. 4 investigative pieces. And I told you African Union had been captured. I did not hesitate to tell you the non-African state that had captured African Union. People called me names. Mr. Muhammad Faki Musa told me and told people I should not come, I should not appear anywhere near the AU. Thank you, Muhammad. Today I am with a lot of glory, glorified, vindicated. It is not me this time, but even when I'm away, I continue to gather more information, more intelligence information on Mr. Muhammad Faki Musa. You can name his name, change it in a way you want. I find out what happens to African Union. The latest is this document. It was forwarded to me as an internal memo, inter-office memorandum. I have captured it. Don't ask me how, but I've asked you how. You better check your pockets, because I'm going to take, I have a dossier on you, Mr. Muhammad Faki, but I don't want to release it because I don't embarrass editors like you. I need peace talks with you. Whenever you are in Nairobi or anywhere, call me in the capital city. I will talk with you if you want. Because if you don't, you might never see African Union again. The dossier that I have, this one is the latest dossier that shows the corruption that Africa is fighting in local countries has actually shifted its legs and planted itself and became a frog jumping every night. I've never seen frogs jumping daytime except when a snake is chasing them. The corruption, the sexual harassment, the management, the leadership style, the leadership style, the equality, the quality of management of African issues is 0 out of 0. Can we say 0 out of? In fact, he has no, Mr. Muhammad Faki has no management style. There is now corruption. This is not Matsanga writing now. You hated me. You haunted us. You told the French intelligence to haunt us, to want to kill us. There are very many of us you have put in trouble. But we are going to put you in more chaos. We are going to put Muhammad Faki in more chaos. Look at this. Where is Ramaphosa? Where is Museveni, who claims to be talking too much English for Africa? Where are they? Is this a document? Is this a man who should lead African Union? Is this the way Nkrumah left this organization? Sekou Touré, Nyerere, Jomo Kenyatta, Haile Selassie, Gabriel Nasser, Patrice Lumumba, Samora Machel, Amilcar Cabral, Benabera. Oh my God. Oh my God. Mugabe. Is this the African Union that we want? Gaddafi. Wherever they are, cut down 6 feet. They are very disappointed with a tall man 6.1 feet from Chad called Muhammad Faki somebody. Moussa Faki, a terrible agent planted on our organization, killing our organization. You will not tell me I'm not an African, not to speak of the malpractices, the corruption that has seen the workers crying to us, releasing documents to us to explain to the world that there is corruption in African Union. This letter dated 6th of March 2020 from Sabero Mbokazi, President of African Union Staff Association. File number SA/BC/06-20. To Mr. Muhammad Faki, African Union Commission. Subject, and Africans listen to this. Is this what we wanted from this stupid guy? Subject, Save African Union Commission. Dismantle the rampant corrupt recruitment and appointment cartel. A call for restoration of sound administrative management and leadership. Imekupata, inakupata leo. I have got you, Muhammad. Mr. What is the real name, Miriam?
It's Muhammad Musa Faki.
Muhammad Musa Faki. Because I don't like him. From the time he was elected, from the time Morocco paid money, from the time France paid money, and from the time he has neglected Biafra, neglected Amazonia, neglected Central African Republic, left them to be killed. I have never liked this guy, and I was right. This memo, This memo, is there anybody who can save African Union? Miriam tested the microphone. I have plenty of insults for this guy. You know, before you go, ladies and gentlemen, these are my intelligence reports. Report number 1. This is the final report, June to July 2019. Okay? The first report, 17th November 2018. The second report is February 2019. And the third report is 23rd of November 2018. There is a fourth report left. There's another one, 4 of them. These reports detail how Mr. Musa has allowed the French to tap, to infiltrate, to pay, to recruit, to use women as objects in the recruitment that takes place in African Union. This report has my reports, 4 intelligence reports, which I have given to several intelligence agencies in Africa, including the one everywhere, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, including President Museveni's office, in Kampala, in Addis Ababa. I circulated worldwide. Saturated, well saturated. And after that, Mr. Muhammad Faki started hunting us, using his French intelligence to track our phones, to trap our movements, to harass us, how much do we know and how much don't we know? Mr. Muhammad Faki, I want to tell you, I'm a seasoned political scientist. Well read, even better than you. Because the only thing you know is French. You have not gone to school. I don't know which school you went to. But I want to tell you frankly that I have more details. Now I'm going to go personal. Next time I come, you don't correct this mess. I'm going to reveal so many personal things about you. I'm going to reveal. I have gathered me. You don't fight me and defeat me. I defeated Ocampo. I will defeat you. I defeated Felsuda. I am going to defeat you. You have to leave our African Union. Don't try to stand for a second term. Don't try. This report is coming from the women. Women are being molested. Women are being asked for sex before they are given jobs in African Union. Then what type of life are we having in Africa? Then why are we wearing suits to go to African Union? Why is there nobody talking about this? Why? Biafra is dying. Biafra is dying. Amazonia is dying. People are dying in Amazonia. Musa Faki cannot call a meeting to address the problem of Central African Republic, to address the problem of Libya. You have connived with General Haftar Khalifa to kill Libya. You are connived with Macron of France to destroy AU. If I don't speak, who else will speak for Nyerere? Who will speak for Obote? Who will speak for Kenyatta? Who will speak for Haile Selassie? Who will speak for Kwame Nkrumah? Who will speak for Sekou Touré? Who will speak for Benebera? Who will speak for Nasser Gabriel? Who will speak for Amir Kabura? Who will speak for Patrice Lumumba, who died, whose body we have never buried? Who will speak for Mugabe? Mugabe is gone, but he has left offsprings like me. We are not going to keep quiet. We shall tackle you with your French mercenaries in African Union. Bring you to where you belong. The next stage is I'm going to do it like I did to the Somali judge, that small Somali judge, whom I removed. He cannot sit on the panel. I'm going to isolate you in Africa. I am going to darten your name until you get out of Africa. You better go understand as a president of Chad. After all, I don't need to go to Chad. What is in Chad? What? I have every food to eat wherever I am. But you are not going to destroy African Union, and we watch you. A letter, Miriam, you a woman, read the letter. It is there, part of it. How women are crying. How women should give their bodies in order to get appointment. Is this something African heads of state can keep quiet about? When we are trying to get women equality, we are giving gender parity. How on earth can we keep quiet? If the mainstream is not talking about it, we Pan-Africans are going to talk about it. Mm-hmm. Yes, there you are. Take it over.
Yes, indeed. And this is a letter that was leaked, an internal memo from the AU and the African Union staff have accused their boss of corruption, cronyism, and other total collapse of the leadership. So, in a nutshell, it addresses the office of His Excellency, the Chairperson of the African Union. The letter is dated the 6th of March 2020, so it's just about last week, I think. And it says, on the 28th of February 2020, the AU Staff Association held an extraordinary General Assembly, mainly on reflection of the staff-related outcome of the 33rd AU Assembly, remember, that happened in February 2020, and to discuss the long-standing pertinent issues which define the working conditions of the staff. This note raises several grave concerns of the staff for your urgent response, and the first of them is institutional reform process. And the staff meeting noted that the memo with the reference there entitled New Departmental Structure for the AU Commission, the staff acknowledged that the memo categorically stated that a centrality of the participation of the AU Staff Association in the process of defining the transition plan, and further noted with appreciation that the draft of the same will be presented to the staff our town hall meeting and transparency of open participation. So it continues, and it's such a long letter. But when you go to another part there, there's a heading there: illegal acting of heads of division, departments, and confirmation to positions. So they raise several matters here, and they say several AU staff approached AU Staff Association Executive Committee regarding the unlawful confirmation of the head of human resource management. So we've seen that is captured there of corruption. The way now we see the staff is bringing out how even some of the members were confirmed in their positions that through corruption, cronyism, and of course a total collapse of leadership there at the African Union. And it says that by and large, the appointment is regarded by the staff as a manifestation of glaring cronyism and total collapse of leadership, which member states continue to underscore. And another point on that, it says this message is convened in the context of the commitment you categorically expressed during several meetings. And so it appears, Doctor, here we have very heavy matters here that are really plaguing the African Union. So while we sit here wondering why is it that African Union is not working for Africa, what is happening at the African Union, and especially remember the firing of the AU ambassador to the United States ambassador and Arikana that was never really resolved. We see perhaps the cronyism here comes to play. And also something that you mentioned, it's a whole memo. And so the allegations are made in an interface, of course, a memorandum there, as I mentioned there. And of course, in particularly, the staff raised concerns about the fact that senior appointments are routinely made without following due process. So that tells you a lot of corruption happens. Then Doctor mentioned there that sometimes even women or even men, I think sometimes also there's a lot of sexual harassment there. You have to sometimes do things that are not okay for you to be promoted.
Miriam is keeping quiet.
Yes.
She doesn't want to mention it.
Yes.
Sexual molestation, sexual harassment, sexual favors. They ask before you are employed. They ask you to go to a hotel first. They check you as if they are doctors. That is what is happening there. And you are right to say both men and women, because these days there is transgender analysis, which we don't want to discuss in here. But the basic point, Miriam, is the type of corruption that has engulfed, created an amnesia in AU to the extent that the AU cannot call a summit on Biafra, on Cameroon, on the terrorists who are killing people in the Sahara region, and terrorists who are killing people in Libya. The AU cannot convene any single meeting about the activities of Somalia. The AU cannot engage itself actively on the Somali-Kenya dispute immediately. That's why the white people, the Bazungu, underrate us. That's why the Gulf states are coming to confuse Somalia. They are bringing money to confuse us because our AU is preoccupied with the French theory, the French analysis, They are looking for more resources, more chaos in the regions south of the Sahara to dismantle, to expand the French hegemony.
Yeah, indeed. And of course, in May 2018, just to add on what Doctor is saying, unnamed sources, and I think, Doctor, you must have been one of the people who leaked an internal, some
It
internal
is
memo
me.
that leaked.
Don't doubt. May what? They say May what?
May 2018 was a memorandum addressed to the AU chair stating that we female employees of the AU Commission are totally appalled by the entrenchment of professional apartheid against female employees in the Commission. It was endorsed by 37 women who work in the AU, and it appears that women have been denied promotions, discouraged and prevented from taking up leadership roles, while the perpetrators of such discrimination go unchecked. So we see AU leadership has been acting with impunity, even especially molesting the women, employees, their staff there at the African Union. So a lot have been happening in the AU, and
May 20?
May 2018.
Exactly. This is the leaked African Union sacks corrupt chief of staff, spy master general of foreign power, Pan-African Forum vindicated again. This is the document, intelligence document, showing how the chief of staff of Musa was stealing secrets, supplying them to where? France. And how women were asked for sexual favors before employment was given. I detailed 4 reports that I will now officially now, since this has arrived from AU, I'm going to bundle it and put it here, take action, and fly to Johannesburg, seek an audience with Mr. Ramaphosa. Mr. Ramaphosa, I'm coming. And you refuse me to see me, you refuse yourself. Because Africa will laugh at you. You need to have an audience with me and with us. This man is a French operative. He has taken over our organization. We are in trouble. And the few of us who are left who have not been killed, there are people in that AU who are on the run. I have friends who are hiding because Mr. Musa Faki is looking to kill them. I'm telling you, it's a very serious accusation. I have friends. The things happening in Mali, in the Bamako, I have evidence. And I will always stand for these younger men who are being killed, cold, poisoned. This thing is going to reach a poisoning point. The Ethiopian government must know that there are certain people that are operating very wrongly in Addis Ababa. This report is not, I did not go there to steal. I did not break the office. I was sent this document. Don't ask me. Ask Mr. Sepelo Mbokazi, the signatory. Extension 4434. Ask him.
Who is the head of AU Staff Association?
Yes,
there?
ask him. Usiniulize mimi. That's the letter.
That's the letter. And also in part of that letter, the memo went on to outline more general problems with Mustafaki's leadership. And I'll just quote a part of it. They say, with you sitting at the helm of this organization, the rules have been indiscriminately flouted and chaos prevails both at the headquarters and regional offices. The staff indicated that the moral fiber has decayed under your watch. And it added that the confirmation of cronies without qualifications, without interviews and without following due recruitment processes has turned the AU Commission into a den without rules, characterized by arbitrary administrative decisions and impunity, which is manipulated by mafia characters. Can you see that?
And this is exactly what I told you here. Mafia is here. And when I wrote this, there is another stupid intelligence man somewhere in Africa. I will not name him here. He told me, How did you get these documents? You know the African intelligence system is not in Kenya, of course. The Kenya intelligence is first class, well organized. Another person in Africa whom I was talking to, in the southern parts of Africa, he said, how did you get all this information? Then I said, then why are you a senior officer in this country of South Africa, or in this country of Africa? You stop heads of state from going to witness a swearing-in ceremony of which you have sent observers. Are you not mad? Are you not sick? Are you not sick?
It's very interesting. So, Doctor, when AU staff themselves are bringing out such grave matters here in concern with the AU leadership there, then it is no wonder because we've been talking about here, but as we are from the outside world, so we really sometimes don't really understand the happenings inside there. So these are the staff who are raising concerns and are questioning the leadership of Mr. Faki. So where does this leave the rest of Africa, and what can now the heads of state, the member states in the AU do in regards to changing the guard there, the AU, because as it is right now, it's not working for Africa?
I am saying all this, when you see people who don't even listen like a Bismarck Bura, I don't know whether their ears are behind the heads or in front of their faces. I have not said Kenyatta or Haile Selassie killed. I said they have died. They have nobody.
No, actually, Bismarck Bura is responding to somebody else. He's trying to correct somebody else. I think Gabri Risag Kumar up there, he had said that people, Kenyatta and Haile Selassie,
he's my friend.
Those are genocide or Somali innocent civilians. So Bismarck Bura is just trying to correct.
Yes, sorry, Bismarck. Bismarck is our friend. I had not read the thing properly. Thank you very much.
So he was correct.
Nobody, Kenyatta has never killed anybody. Haile Selassie never killed anybody.
So Bismarck is correcting that information from up there.
And for us, we are only telling Somali friends, when you come on this platform, this is not Mogadishu, sir. This is Kenya, where there is freedom. In Mogadishu, you are molesting journalists. Farimajo is killing journalists. We have banned him. We are about to ban him to enter Britain. Very soon. Very soon. Most of you who have British passports who go to torture journalists, we are earmarking you. And some of these are like these ones. In Mogadishu, there's no freedom of a journalist printing anything. They connive with Al-Shabaab to kill people at night. The same, they kill that journalist is writing too much. Wako na hiyo kitu. So now this one here comes here things that we are saying they killed. Thank you very much, Mr. Basak Bura. Yes.
Isaac, but there's something also important that I think this staff has brought up here, and it is the manner in which they say Mr. Musa Faki, having been at the helm of this organization, the rules have been indiscriminately flouted and chaos prevails both at the headquarters and regional offices. So what they're saying is Musa Faki has been acting with impunity, disregarding totally the rules and the guidelines that have been provided in the AU. And we've been sitting here wondering, all these things that are happening in Africa, why is AU not paying attention to South Sudan, for example? Why is AU not paying attention to what is happening in Biafra land and that parts of Nigeria and the chaos and the insecurity that is happening? Why is AU not paying attention to Cameroon and the Anglophone issue? Why is AU not paying attention to a lot of things that are happening in this continent? But now we see Mr. Musa Faki's attention, and I think the interest that he's serving has allowed him to act with impunities. And I think over and over here we have said it appears as though Mr. Musa Faki has been a gatekeeper for other interests outside of Africa. Now his own staff are proving us very right. These are things we've been saying here every single day.
I have been saying so. I have been saying so, Mama. I've been saying so. I've been telling Africa, oh, my Africa. Oh, my Africa. Have you seen the other book? There is a book that is so nice. I've written today a post, a very, very good post called The Torrid Scene of Africa. horrid scene. Have you seen it? Very good. I quoted the book of Alan. You remember Alan? The man who wrote the book, Cry the Beloved Country. I said, oh my country, oh my Africa, why are we behaving like this? Why do we behave like this? The heads of state always fly into Addis Ababa. They don't discuss serious things that affect this continent. They just endorse what the Secretary General and the Secretariat and other people have said. They leave a problem. Gaddafi was telling you before he died that the French were going to kill him. We lost Gaddafi. We lost Gaddafi.
We lost Gaddafi, and in case you're wondering, some of the objectives of the African Union are just in a nutshell to achieve greater unity, cohesion and solidarity between the African countries and African nations, to defend the sovereignty, territorial integrity and independence of its member states, and to accelerate the political and social economic integration of the continent. That captures the core of why AU was formed. But when you have such characters who are sitting at the helm of a very important institution in Africa, for us as member states, it's very important to us. But we've seen the people who are at the helm of this institution are not even upholding some of these very important objectives that even mandated AU to be formed to defend sovereignty. We've not seen AU defend any African sovereignty, territorial integrity. Look at them. Look at how they're even handling the matters that are happening across Africa. And of course, to accelerate the political and social economic integration, AU has failed in even achieving these core objectives of the African Union. Why do we even need AU?
They promised us a passport. Where is it? They said by 20...
It's in the pipe. That's a pipe dream.
They said by 2020 we shall have a passport. I don't think we shall. We have a mirage. A mirage passport. How many Africans have got the passport so far? You can't even talk about it. So viewers, thank you very much. I think we've made our time. We have 15 minutes.
We still have 15. And also, just to look at some of the things that AU has really failed miserably to address in this continent. Look at that matter, the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam right now, the contention between Egypt, Ethiopia. Sudan really does not have a problem with that. But look at AU has refused even to offer a statement. AU has refused to offer leadership. In fact, matter of fact, that time that the AU chairperson was still the president of Egypt, Al-Sisi himself, approached the US to come and mediate, and yet he was the chair of the AU, so that went ahead to look like an indictment that he does not believe in the institution that he was chairing. And so now why should the rest of us believe in the leadership of AU? So AU has not been able to show leadership in that matter and come in and negotiate and mediate and find a resolution in terms of this grand standing between Ethiopia and Egypt, the disagreement that is happening right now. And also we saw in the Democratic Republic of Congo elections last year and the pronouncements, and I think you made reference to that a bit earlier, when after the disputed elections that happened in 2018 December there, after the presidential results were to announce, AU, the way it played out, you could tell for real AU is acting on behalf of, because it followed what France was saying, it followed what other players were saying, and it did not consider what the Electoral Commission of the Democratic Republic of Congo was saying. So you can tell AU was speaking and acting on behalf of a certain interest outside of the DRC and outside of Africa. We've seen the way AU has handled the Sudan affair, and it didn't do much in Sudan. The last and only statement, they came in very lately after the EU, after Britain, after the US had really put pressure on Sudan and the leadership. That's when AU, I always call it Miss Jane, come lately. That's when they came in after everything had been squared, and they tried to issue statements, and they removed Sudan from the African Union after the army took over, and later on it was reinstated. But they did not show leadership in that regard, so they failed the people of Sudan. And also a lot we could go over and over and over and look at some of the examples. Of course, not forgetting the Burundi affair we see right now, even in 2015 after that attempted coup, and the president Pierre Nkurunziza committing serious human rights violations there. What is happening? What happened to Nkurunziza? He continued acting with impunity. His country continued participating in AU activities, and nothing really happened to him. And in South Sudan as well, we saw the way AU was very slow to take leadership and offer a mediation process and take leadership in that peace process in South Sudan. It's a lot of examples across Africa. Central African Republic right now could require a bit of AU intervention. We don't see it. Biafra, what is happening right now, and even the killings that are happening and the insecurity that is happening in Nigeria that has completely gone out of hand, could require a bit of AU leadership. You have not seen AU step up. They don't even make statements when people die out there. So I don't even understand. And when you come back to even what Paul Biya, even after the killings that happened there, where Anglophones were killed by a few weeks ago by the army, the Cameroonian army, AU has not issued a statement. I searched, I looked in their website, I looked for the chairperson of the AU to see have they said anything about it. It appears it serves it has double standards when it comes to the matters that it is supposed to be addressing. And I think the country that the AU has let down seriously in this continent is Libya.
Yes, exactly. That is what has happened. And I want to thank you very much. They have destroyed everything. Now the witnesses have come out. We have evidence, enough evidence to prosecute Mr. Moussa Faki. We shall have another debate with some experts next week on which way we can go for this institution called African Union. Thank you very much, viewers. God bless you. God bless Africa. This is Diplomatic Leaks. It has rained. I told you it will rain one day. The AU is captured. The AU has collapsed. There is no AU, but there is a French spy, DSGE agent, who is running the African Union, called Moussa Faki. Thank you very much, Miriam.
All right.
Yes.
We'll see you in the next few minutes for another show.
You can announce that show. We are coming back with the editor's memo, and we shall do it today express in 20 minutes.
All right.
Miriam and I will be on the stage. Don't go away. That is the end of Diplomatic Leaks.
Yes.
Today we have got the real fish. The fish who fishes and kills and eats alone and kills Africa. Mr. Faki Mohammed Faki Mahamat. Thank you.
Okay.
Peace must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.